The meeting ended and Sarah hugged me in the elevator and said we crushed it, babe, and I hugged her back and said we really did, and I wanted to throw up. I went home that afternoon and I sat at my kitchen table and I did not move for a very long time. I am a data person. I always have been. When something does not make sense, I do not spiral, I go looking for patterns. I pull the thread. I follow it wherever it goes. So that is what I did. I opened my laptop and I started going back through everything. Emails. Calendar invites. Slack messages. Meeting notes. 6 months of our working life together, laid out in front of me like evidence. And the pattern I found made me feel sick. Let me tell you about the Meridian pitch. 3 months ago, we were in talks with Meridian Group, a mid-sized logistics company that would have been our biggest client. I had prepared the technical demo myself. The night before the meeting, Sarah called me and said she had been talking to their CTO and he was more interested in the business case than the technical specs. She suggested I simplify my portion, pull back on the architecture walkthrough, let her lead more of the conversation. I trusted her. She knew the client relationship. So I pulled back. In the meeting, their CTO asked a detailed technical question, exactly the kind I had originally prepared for, and I stumbled. I did not have my materials. I looked unprepared. Sarah smoothly stepped in and said she would follow up with documentation, which made it look like she was covering for my gap. Meridian went cold after that. Sarah told me it just was not the right fit. Sitting at my kitchen table that night, I pulled up the email chain with Meridian's CTO. And I found something Sarah had apparently forgotten I had access to. A forwarded message. Their CTO had written to Sarah privately after the meeting saying he was impressed with her business vision but had concerns about the technical team's depth. Sarah had written back, I completely understand. I'm actively evaluating that situation on my end. Evaluating that situation. I was the situation. I kept pulling the thread. The Tech Forward conference in March. Sarah had told me my panel submission was rejected. I had been disappointed but moved on. That night I logged into the submission portal. I still had the credentials because I had been the one to set up the account, and I found my submission. It had been accepted. And then withdrawn. The withdrawal request had been sent from Sarah's email address 2 days after acceptance. She had pulled my panel submission without telling me. Without asking me. I sat back in my chair and stared at the ceiling. Then there were the investor introductions. Over the past year, Sarah had told me about at least 4 potential investor conversations that had gone nowhere. They passed, she would say. Not the right fit. They're not doing early stage right now. I had taken every single one of those answers at face value because I trusted her to manage the investor relations side. That was our division of responsibilities. I started reaching out. Carefully. Professionally. Just a brief introduction email, mentioning Luma Analytics, mentioning my co-founder role. 2 of them wrote back within hours. One of them said he had been hoping to reconnect with the Luma team and had been surprised not to hear from us after his initial conversation with my colleague Sarah. Colleague. Not co-founder. Not partner. Colleague. Because that was how Sarah had introduced me. Past tense, apparently. A colleague. I thought about all the times over the past 6 months that Sarah had been so warm, so supportive, so present. The coffee runs. The late night calls. The "you're doing amazing" Maya texts that I had saved because they meant something to me. I had been leaning on her. I had been grateful for her. And every single time I leaned on her, she had been learning exactly where to push to make me fall. She knew I had imposter syndrome about the business side of things. I had told her that. Cried about it, actually, one night after a rough investor call 2 years ago. I had told her I sometimes felt like I was the engineer who got lucky, not a real founder. She had held my hand and told me that was ridiculous. And then she had spent 6 months making sure that insecurity became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Every time I looked uncertain in a meeting, she had been the one who had made sure I would be uncertain. Every connection that mysteriously did not work out, she had made sure it did not work out. Every opportunity that fell through, she had pushed it. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Victor's team just followed up already. This is happening, Maya. So proud of us. I stared at the word "us" for a long time. Then I put my phone face down on the table and kept working. Because I had not even gotten to the worst part yet. Because the business betrayal, as devastating as it was, I could survive that. What I could not survive was what I found next. The proof that the friendship itself had never been real. That every intimate thing I had ever told Sarah Whitfield had been filed away, carefully and deliberately, not as a secret kept between friends but as a weapon waiting to be used. Stay tuned for the next part.